National security is what I like to think I specialize in, and my questions to Dr. Swamy are based on a few issues which are very close to my heart emotionally and practically as well. Sir, how important do you think is the rehabilitation of Kashmiri Pandits for the final solution of the Kashmir problem? Because when the Kashmiri Pandits were subjected to genocide, rape, you know the story as well as anybody else does,
I know it.
maybe better. Now, India seems to have largely forgotten about the plight of the Kashmiri Pandits. How important is that?
I wouldn't say that we have forgotten.
Sir.
I would say that we think it can be done only second, not first.
Sir.
We need to settle this question of what this country's identity is and how it applies to Kashmir.
Sir.
The Hindus have always fought. All changes that have taken place, the defeat of the Mughals was due to the Hindus. First, Guru Gobind Singh broke their back, then the Marathas finished them in 1795 in Pune, the last battle. But then the British came, and the time the Marathas were weak, they took it over. And again, it's the Hindu saints, Aurobindo, Ramakrishna Paramahans, spiritually minded people like Bankim Chatterjee, and then Vivekananda. So, the process of these spiritual leaders started raising. It was essentially a Hindu movement, but Gandhi felt that India should not be partitioned. So he made adjustments. So I think we have to make it clear that we regard that this is a Hindu country in which those who identify with the soil of this country, they are also our brothers and sisters. And DNA says that all Muslims have the same DNA as us, Hindus. So they are not descendants of Gauri and Ghazni. Maybe a few strains of blood might be there, but the fact is that the broad 95% or more are people whose DNA is the same as us, which means their ancestors are Hindus. And that process of accepting that is an important part of the Kashmir problem. That the Kashmiri Pandits are not to be seen in majority and minority. In fact, if you take the Kashmir as a whole, the Hindus are in majority, almost in majority, especially if you include all those people who have left. And the differential population growth rate since 1947. So what I think our people are thinking, I've had casual conversations, there's been no formal. That somewhere we have to ensure that we have secured physically Kashmir. And you have these Kashmiri Pandits go back, they must be able to live there. We can't create a kind of a gulag or something where the Kashmiri Pandits live, the Pannoon Kashmir idea.
Yes, sir.
It's not a healthy attitude. It's maybe a short term, it can be. My suggestions, therefore, in conclusion is, nobody is going to forget the Kashmiri Pandits. There are too many of them. In my opinion, what we should do is there are about 1 crore ex-servicemen. Of that, 10 lakhs should be given money and weapons and asked to settle down in Kashmir.
Excellent.
And reoccupy those houses which the militants made the Kashmiri Pandits
Yes,
vacated, and create that atmosphere, and then have Kashmiri Pandits come. I also think that it is within our capability, a potential capability, I'll say, to retake that part of Kashmir which is presently with Pakistan. I also think that we can get China to cooperate in that. Very few people believe it. The Prime Minister doesn't believe it when I tell him. But I have dealt with China. I speak Chinese. I have studied China. I got what everybody thought was impossible to reopen Kailash Mansarovar.
Sir.
And in fact, I was the first one to go. I have been there once more in 2016. So the Chinese psyche, I have studied very carefully, and I'm saying to you today that with certain clever steps, which I think we haven't got time for me to go into it, but the Chinese will be on board, and we can retake the remaining part of Kashmir.
The POK, sir.
The POK. Even with the Chinese, the Aksai Chin is the difficult part for negotiation. But Arunachal, they have already agreed McMahon Line is the international boundary with Myanmar in writing.
Sir.
So they get very embarrassed when I bring it out, because our people don't bring it out.
Sir.
When I speak to them, I say, how can you oppose McMahon Line because in imperialized, you have already agreed, it's in writing. So then said, okay, when you settle Aksai Chin, we'll give this whole thing, we will not insist on Arunachal. So, and we have had, thousands of years of relations.
Yes, sir.
And there's a deep admiration for it. So it has to be, Kashmiri Pandits thing has to be seen in an overall thing where they feel secure, they feel this is our land, we got it back. That kind of atmosphere we have.
Absolutely, sir.